Hello everyone, I'm José Eduardo Razo Negrete, and today I'm going to talk about human behavior, especially why people behave differently when they are in groups compared to when they are alone. I choose this topic because human behavior is something we experience every day at school, with friends, online, and even with our families. Many times, people change their opinions, attitudes, or actions depending on the people around them. Sometimes we don't even notice it. In this presentation, I will explain how groups influence behavior, that psychology says about conformity, and how social media affects human behavior today. Well, for introduce this topic, human behavior changes depending on social situations. When people are alone, they usually act according to their beliefs, values, and personality. However, when they are in groups, their behavior may change because they want to feel accepted or avoid rejection. This happens because humans are social beings. We naturally want to belong to a group and feel connected to others. Because of this, people sometimes follow what others and doing even when they personality disagree. Psychology studies these behaviors to understand why humans act differently in different environments. First of all, groups have a very strong influence on human behavior. Many people change way they dress, speak, think, or act in order to fit in with others. This is commonly known as peer pressure. Peer pressure is very common among teenagers and young adults. For example, some students will start behaving differently just to be accepted by their classmates or friends. Sometimes people pretend to like certain music, clothes, or trends because they don't want to feel included. Group influence is not always negative, it can also be positive. For example, being surrounded by hardworking people can motivate someone to study more, exercise, or improve their habits. However, group influence can also become dangerous. In some situations, people may participate in bullying, risking activities, or bad decisions simply because everyone else is doing it. One important psychology experiment about conformity was conducted by Solomon Hatch. In these experiments, participants were shown simple questions with obvious answers. However, the other people in the room intentionally gave incorrect answers. Surprisingly, many participants also gave the wrong answer, even though they knew it was incorrect. Why did this happen? Because they didn't want to feel indifferent or excluded from the group. This experiment demonstrates that humans naturally seek social acceptance. Many times, people prefer agreeing with the group instead of expressing their true opinion. This idea is called conformity, and it explains why social influence is so powerful in everyday life. Another important concept related to human behavior is the individuation. The individuation happens when people in groups lose their sense of personal responsibility. In large groups or crowds, individuals may feel anonymous, and because of this, they sometimes behave in ways they normally wouldn't. For example, during riots, protests, or even sports events, some people become aggressive or destructive, even though they are usually calm individuals when alone. This also happens online. Some people write offensive comments on social media because they feel protected by anonymity. Being part of a crowd can reduce feelings or gloat and increase impulsive behavior. Today, Social media has an enormous influence on human behavior. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and X affect opinions, trends, identity, and self esteem. Many people post pictures, opinions, or videos mainly to receive likes, approval, or attention from others. Because of social media, people often compare themselves to others. This can create pressure to look perfect, have a perfect life, or following certain trends. Sometimes these trends can become dangerous because users imitate behaviors without thinking critically. However, social media also has positive effects. It allows people to connect with communities, share ideas, support others, and learn new things. So, social media can influence behavior in both positive and negative ways, depending on how people use it. Personally, I believe in understand human behavior is very important because it helps us understand ourselves and others better. Sometimes society influences us more than we realize. There have been moments in my life when I changed my opinion or behavior just to fit in with a group or about conflict. Later, I realized that it is important to think independently and stay true to your own values. I think learning about psychology and social influence helps people become more of their decisions and actions. Well, for finish this topic, in conclusion, human behavior changes significantly when people are in groups because humans naturally seek acceptance and fear rejection. Psychology experiments like Solomon asked studies show how conformity affects decisions and opinions. In addition, social media has increased the influence that society has on behavior in modern life. Understanding these ideas can help us think critically, make better decisions, and become more independent. I would like to finish with this question for everyone. How many of our decisions are truly our own? And how many are influenced by the people around us? Well, for this topic, that's all. I'm Jose Eduardo Negrete, and thank you for listening.